Welcome back. I'm sure that you have gained a lot of interest through the study of the foundational aspects of intellectual property law. As I mentioned, this particular module covered intellectual property law as a primer. Then you went through the historical and universal origins of intellectual property. You looked into the theoretical justifications for intellectual property, and also finally the economic dimensions of intellectual property law and the economic linkages with IP. Now, I'm sure that the first module on the primer of intellectual property law has allowed you to understand the conceptual distinction between various kinds of intellectual property law. It has also allowed you to understand the structure and the property dynamics involving intellectual property and how both rights and remedies complement the IP system. In the second module on the universal origins of intellectual property, I'm sure you have definitely looked into the greater detail as to the historical developments of intellectual property law in different comparative jurisdictions and also the developments in India. In the third module, you have looked into the theoretical justifications for intellectual property. Here you have looked into theories propounded by Locke, Hegel, Marx, and also various other theorists who have sought to justify or critique private property. And in this perspective of the application or criticism of these theories to property law, we have looked into intellectual property as a kind of an object. And there you have understood that some theories could justify, but some theories might be able to actually be in some way difficult to be applied in case of intellectual property. Finally, in the fourth module, you have looked into the economic linkages, and I'm sure you have deeply understood how the right to exclude and various dimensions involving intellectual property, both in its micro and macro forms, are important in the study of intellectual property, because IP is ultimately a public good, but for the reason that without providing such intellectual property protection, you would not have the amount of knowledge that is going to be created in the marketplace. So thank you one and all. I look forward to seeing you in week 2.